Welcome to Catholic Shrine Basilica YouTube channel.
St Pancras of Zuiderkerk Enkhuizen, Netherlands. Introduction. The Zuiderkerk, also known as the St Pancras Kerk, is a remarkable late Gothic hall church located in the heart of Enkhuizen, a historic town in the Netherlands, dating back to the 15th century. This two-aisled church is not only one of the city's most prominent architectural landmarks, but also a treasured symbol of its cultural and spiritual heritage. The church's striking tower and beautifully preserved structure make it a key feature of Enkhuizen's skyline, admired by residents and visitors alike. Steeped in history, the Zuiderkerk houses a wealth of cultural and historical treasures, reflecting its centuries-long role at the center of community life. Today, it continues to serve as an active place of worship for the Protestant Church in the Netherlands, PKN, where the local faith community gathers for services, reflection, celebration, and remembrance. Beyond its religious function, the church aspires to grow into a welcoming and inclusive center for well-being and contemplation, open to all, regardless of background or belief. It is a space where tradition and community spirit come together, offering a sense of belonging and purpose to everyone who steps inside. The people of Enkhuizen take great pride in this sacred building, not only for its historical and architectural value, but for the vital role it continues to play in the life of the city. History of St Pancras of Zuiderkerk Enkhuizen, Netherlands. Founding in early construction, 15th century. The origins of the Zuiderkerk date back to the early 15th century. In 1422, the citizens of Enkhuizen received official permission from John III, Duke of Bavaria, Jan van Buren, to dismantle the old church of Oostdorp, a village that had been devastated by flooding in 1421 and lay outside the protective West-Fries Omringdijk. This granted them the opportunity to build a new church safely within the boundaries of construction of the new church, dedicated to the Roman martyr St Pancras, Pancratius, began in 1422 or 1423. The chosen site was a low-lying patch of reedland which had to be significantly raised before building could commence. Contemporary reports noted that the foundation walls were exceptionally deep, matching the impressive height of the church walls. By 1458, most of the church's structure had been completed, including the lower section of the tower. Completion and tower development, 16th century. The iconic church tower, which today rises to a height of approximately 75 meters, was gradually completed over the course of the 16th century. The upper section was added in 1524, completing the vertical profile that continues to dominate the Enkhuizen skyline. However, by 1595, the tower began to lean significantly, by about 6 to 7 feet. Structural efforts were undertaken to stabilize and straighten it, preserving its presence as a key architectural and civic landmark. Ownership and restoration. The church tower is owned by the civil municipality of Enkhuizen, separate from the ecclesiastical body that manages the church itself. In 1992, the tower underwent extensive restoration and renovation to ensure its structural integrity and continued use. Cornelis Cultuin and the Reformation era. A pivotal figure in the church's religious history is Cornelis Cultuin, who became pastor of the Zuiderkerk in 1555. Known as the father of the Dutch Reformation, Cultuin represented the emerging Protestant movement at a time when Balthazar Platander, a Roman Catholic pastor, still led the nearby Westerkerk. Though Cultuin served the larger of the two congregations, his strict religious orthodoxy drew criticism. In 1557, under increasing pressure, he was forced to leave Enkhuizen and relocated to Alkmaar, marking a significant moment in the early Reformation. In the modern developments and renovations, 21st century. In the 21st century, the church has embraced both its historical heritage and a modern role in the community. In 2012, plans were developed to reorganize parts of the interior space to better serve diverse needs. By 2014, this renovation was completed, focusing on the area near the Chapel of the Cross on the north side. Additions included multifunctional spaces such as a daycare facility and a kitchen, making the church more accessible and service-oriented for the broader community. In 2024, the Zuiderkerk was awarded €16,500 in provincial subsidies from North Holland to support ongoing restoration efforts, an acknowledgement of its enduring importance as both a historic monument and an active community hub. Architecture of St Pancras of Zuiderkerk Enkhuizen, Netherlands. Architectural style, hall church, ceiling and wall paintings, early decoration and Reformation over painting. In 1484, intricate biblical scenes were painted on the vaults of the Zuiderkerk, enriching the interior with vivid religious imagery. These works of sacred art were created in a time when the church was still under Roman Catholic influence. However, following the Protestant Reformation and the church's transition to Protestant ownership, the paintings were deemed inappropriate for the new theological climate. As a result, they were painted over in 1609. Rediscovery in the 20th century, the painted vaults and wall decorations remained hidden for centuries. It wasn't until the 20th century that these historical works of art were uncovered again, offering a glimpse into the late medieval spiritual and artistic heritage of the church. These rediscovered artworks now contribute to the church's cultural and historical significance as a national restoration and preservation work. 2001 to 2004. The church underwent extensive restoration between 2001 and 2004. This effort was necessary not only to preserve its historical features, but also to address damage caused by furniture beetle infestation. During this restoration, great care was taken to protect and conserve both the structural and artistic heritage of the building. The pipe organ, a unique musical legacy, origins and historical development. The organ at the Zuiderkerk is among the most fascinating and historically layered instruments in the Netherlands, often described as a hybrid organ due to its diverse components from different centuries and builders. Evidence from the 16th century, including pipe fragments and early registers, confirms the presence of an organ even in the late 1400s. Some of the oldest pipes are attributed to renowned organ builder Jan van Covelens, ca. 1470, ca. 1530, such as those in the octave 4-foot and the hollow flute 8. The gemshorn 2-foot is similarly old and credited to Hendrik Niehoff, ca. 1495 to 1560, who also worked on the organ in the nearby Westerkerk. Major enhancements in Sveling's visit. In 1593, organ builder Antonius Henricus expanded the instrument with the rug positive, a smaller, secondary organ. A major transformation occurred in 1621, which included significant restructuring and the construction of the current organ casing. That year is still inscribed within the organ's main work. This renovation was famously inspected by two distinguished organists from Amsterdam and Haarlem. One of them was Jan Pieterszoon Svelink, the most celebrated Dutch composer and organist of the Renaissance. Remarkably, Svelink passed away less than a month after visiting the Zuiderkerk, on October 21, 1621, an event that adds a mysterious note to the further additions and artistic enhancements. In 1688, Johannes Duischot added the current 3-register pedal board. The 18th century brought more artistic changes. A painted curtain canvas was added behind the organ to enhance its visual presence, and Peter de Nicolo created decorative wing pieces to replace the original shutters in 1737. Freytag's transformation in 1799. The most transformative changes came in 1799 when Heinrich Hermann Freytag (1759–1811), originally from Hamburg, led a major overhaul. He rebuilt the backwork into a larger structure, redesigned the keyboards, and expanded the lower section of the main case. The resulting Empire-style aesthetic strongly contrasted with the older Renaissance elements. The organ's pitch, = 450 Hz, was also set during this period. The entire instrument was painted white, adding to its classical appearance. Modern restoration and tuning. Between 1988 and 1990, Flintrop Orgelbouw of Zaandam meticulously restored the organ under the guidance of advisor Jan Jongpier, using Freytag's 1799 version as the blueprint. Missing sound components such as the mixture and sharp of the main work were reconstructed. In 2023, the organ underwent further maintenance. Notably, Flintrop reinstalled the large octave of the Nazareth 3-foot pipe, which had been found in the Mennonite meeting house in Wormerveer. During this work, the organ's tuning was adjusted to Neidhart's 1729 temperament, enhancing its tonal character and historical authenticity. The organ today is a rare blend of styles. Its main work retains the tonal characteristics of the 16th and 17th centuries, while its back work showcases the more elegant and refined sound palette of the 18th century. The organ is currently played by Jan Spitzker, who has served as the church's organist since 1990. Modern redesign 2013 to 2014. In an effort to better serve the local community while preserving the church's historic character, a sensitive and innovative redesign was implemented in 2013 to 2014. This project, designed by Van Hugevest Architecten, reimagined part of the church's interior, specifically the northward extended chapel of the Holy Cross. A transparent glass wall was installed to enclose the chapel area, and within it, a modern multifunctional structure was built. This new volume includes a foyer, creche, daycare, and kitchen on the ground floor, and 2 meeting rooms on the upper floor. The church choir now has its own designated space atop this addition. The redesign was executed with a strong emphasis on reversibility. For instance, original bricks from a previously sealed passage were carefully stored beneath the floor, enabling future restoration using the authentic materials. Additionally, the baptismal fence around the pulpit was repositioned slightly, creating a new baptismal garden and enhancing accessibility to the pulpit. The redesigned interior was inaugurated in February 2014 and was nominated for the Ari Kepler Prize, which honors excellence in architecture and cultural heritage conservation. The historic bells of the Zuidertoren. The Zuidertoren South Tower of the Zuiderkerk houses 2 historically and musically significant bells tuned to C and A, each with a rich heritage. The larger bell, known as the Salvator bell, was cast in 1509 by the renowned Dutch bell founder Geert van Wouw. Originally made for the Westerkerk, it was transferred to the Zuiderkerk in 1653 and integrated into the Carillon system, bearing the inscription "Salvator is my name, may my sound please the Lord." This bell is both a technical and artistic masterpiece of late medieval bell. The smaller bell, created in 1648 by Peter and François Hemeny, pioneers in tuning precision, carries a biblical inscription praising the Lord and once served as the city's fire bell until 1936. Though not included in the Carillon mechanism, it played a crucial role in public safety and city life. Together, these bells embody centuries of craftsmanship, faith, and civic tradition. The history and evolution of the Carillon at Zuiderkerk Enkhuizen. Origins and construction of the Carillon. The Carillon at Zuiderkerk was first constructed by the famous Hemeny brothers in 1648. Initially, the Carillon comprised 52 bells, each carefully cast and tuned by the Hemeny brothers, who were pioneers in perfecting bell tuning during the Dutch Golden Age. The Carillon was created with the Mint 1 temperament system, which was common during the 17th century and gave the bells their distinctive, bright resonance. Over time, the Carillon was expanded to 54 bells, with about 20 of them dating from before 1800, adding historical significance to the instrument. The early bell mechanisms and pre-strikes. In 1524, long before the Carillon was installed, musical clocks were first introduced in the windows of the Zuiderkerk Tower. These early clocks used mechanical drums to automatically play a series of bells on the hour, often referred to as pre-strikes or alarm bells. These bells were not accurately tuned at the time, as the concept of harmonic tuning had not yet been developed. Some of these early pre-strike bells, cast by the renowned bell founder Geert van Wouw, are still part of the Carillon today and are considered valuable relics from this early period of bell-making history. Expansion and modifications of the Carillon. Following the Hemeny brothers' installation of the original Carillon, other bell founders such as Claude Freemy, A.J. van den Gain, and Claes Norden and Jan Albert de Grave contributed to expanding the Carillon over the. However, not all of these later bells matched the quality of the Hemeny bells, and many were eventually replaced. Notably, one bell by Johann Christian Borchardt was sold to the Dutch Reformed Church in Polokwane, South Africa, marking a significant moment in the Carillon's history. A major restoration in 1936, led by Bell founder A. H. van Bergen, modernized the carillon and replaced the older breech mechanism with a tumbler system for more precise and expressive play. The loss of the Ich Jesus bell. During the 1936 restoration, one of the carillon's most important bells, the Ich Jesus bell, was tragically destroyed. Cast by Geert van Wouw in 1523, this bell had served both as a fire bell and part of the hourly striking mechanism. Due to the risk of falling, the bell was removed from the tower but cracked during the restoration process and could not be repaired. The bell's inscription, which invoked peace and unity, was lost with its destruction, making it one of the carillon's most mourned losses. Restoration and modernization efforts. The restoration of the Zuiderkerk carillon continued in the 20th century, with the installation of a new system by the Petit and Fritzen Bell Foundry in 1971. However, it was not until 1992, under the guidance of carillonneur Jaap van der Ende, that the carillon was fully restored to its original setup. The keyboard house was moved to the octagonal section of the tower, and the clappers were connected to the keyboard using a tumbler system, restoring the carillon's ability to produce a range of expressive sounds. The lost Borden bell was also replaced, ensuring the carillon retained its full tonal range. In 2013, further improvements were made to the carillon, including the installation of a new keyboard that enhanced its manual play. Today, the carillon is regularly played by the city carillonneur, with weekly performances on Wednesday mornings and Friday afternoons/evenings, as well as special performances by guest carillonneurs during the summer months. The historic clock mechanism and barrel organ. The Zuiderkerk Tower also houses a historic clock mechanism dating back to the 16th and 17th centuries. The clock chamber, located lower in the tower, still contains the original striking mechanisms and a barrel organ that plays melodies on the quarter, half, and full hours. The barrel organ is still in use today, with the melodies updated twice a year by the city carillonneur. In 1909, the barrel organ was modernized by converting it from a fixed note system to sliding notes, and in 1936, it was powered by an electric motor. The system was further computerized in 1992, ensuring the clock and barrel organ remain operational in modern times. Modern enhancements and continued use. The modernization of the Zuiderkerk's clock and carillon system continued with the installation of a synchronous electric clockwork system in 1936, replacing the old weight-driven system. A secondary clock was used to regulate the main clock, but is no longer in operation. Notably, the numerals on the clock face differ from standard practices, with the number 5 represented as Q for quint. The maintenance of these systems has been a monumental task, particularly during World War II when the 600 kilograms lead weight from the barrel organ was hidden and later used to repair the Coport's roof. Today, the city carillonneur is responsible for maintaining the carillon's operations, performing regular concerts, and ensuring that the historical mechanisms continue to function as they have for centuries. The Zuiderkerk Carillon remains an iconic musical and historical landmark for the city of Feast Day. Feast Day, May 12th. The feast day of St Pancras of Rome is celebrated annually on May 12th. This day honors St Pancras, a young Christian martyr who was executed around 304 AD during the reign of Emperor Diocletian. His feast was originally celebrated alongside Saints Nereus and Achilles, but was later separated and assigned its own day in 1969. In Enkhuizen, Netherlands, the Zuiderkerk, also called the St Pancraskerk, is dedicated to St Pancras. The church often observes this feast day with special services and events. Mass timing: Monday 9:15 a.m., Tuesday 9:15 a.m., Wednesday 9:15 a.m., Friday 9:15 a.m., Saturday 5:00 p.m., Sunday 8:00 a.m., 9:30 a.m., 11:00 a.m. Church opening time: Saturday 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Contact info: Zuiderkerksteeg 1, 1601 HJ Enkhuizen, Netherlands. Connectivities: Airway, London Heathrow, LHR. To St Pancras of Zuiderkerk, distance 24 km, 36 minutes. Railway, St Pancras International Station to Enkhuizen, Netherlands distance 577.2 kilometers, 4 hours 15 minutes.
If you wish to know more about Catholic shrine basilicas, Marian shrines and Marian apparitions, subscribe to our Catholic Shrine Basilica YouTube channel. Like and share with your loved ones. For more churches website www.catholicshrinebasilica.com.